To get started today, just find a comfortable seated position somewhere near the middle of your mat. Just do a quick mental scan of your body from head to toe, identifying any tension that might need some attention today. And then let's engage our Ujjayi breathing, which would be deep inhales in and out through the nose only. And if you're unfamiliar with Ujjayi breathing, I do have an IGTV that explains it. So on your next inhale, raise your arms up overhead, taking your gaze width, knitting those ribs in together rather than letting them splay open. And exhale as you open up towards the right, letting that right hand become a kickstand behind you, using this hand and knee connection to help you to find a little bit more of a twist as you sit up nice and tall, maybe taking the gaze back behind you. Inhaling as you release the back hand only, diagonally across to the front left corner of the mat, keeping the chest and shoulders open and the gaze up towards the sky if you can. Exhale as you close off those shoulders, grabbing the left knee now with the right hand, so both knees and hands are connected. Tucking the chin into the chest, rounding that upper back towards the back of the mat. And then inhale as you sit up, keeping the elbows crossed and wrapping those hands around one another into eagle arms. Taking the elbows up towards the sky and away from your chest. Exhale as you take the elbows down towards the belly button, rounding the spine, tucking the chin. And then inhale as you release both hands back up overhead for the other side. Exhale, opening up to the left this time. Left hand becomes a kickstand behind you, allowing that rotation to start at the belly button. Inhale as you release the back hand towards the front right corner of the mat this time, really keeping the chest open. Exhale, closing off the shoulders, grabbing the other knee with the other hand, rounding the spine, tucking the chin. Inhale as you sit up, finding those eagle arms again, taking the elbows up towards the sky. Exhale, taking the elbows down towards the feet. We're going to repeat either side one more time, and this time we're really going to focus on connecting our breath with every movement. Inhale, arms up towards the sky, gaze follows. Exhale, opening up to the right. Inhale, releasing the back hand off the mat, reaching diagonally overhead. Exhale, closing off the shoulders, tucking the chin, rounding the spine. Inhale, wrapping those hands around one another, finding eagle arms, taking them up towards the sky and away from the chest. Exhale, taking the elbows down towards the mat, rounding the spine. Inhale, release both arms back up overhead for the other side. Exhale, gentle rotation out to the left. Inhale, releasing the back hand diagonally overhead. Exhale, closing off the shoulders, rounding the spine, tucking the chin to the chest. Inhale to find eagle arms, taking the elbows up and away from the body. Exhale, coming down towards the mat, rounding the spine. Inhale, release. Wonderful. We're going to come forward into tabletop. So rock forward onto the knees, planting the hands directly in front of you, unwrapping the ankles, finding the knees to be directly under the hips and the wrists directly under the shoulders. We're going to take a variation of cat-cow here that I really like. It's going to stretch out the lower left and right sides of the back. So we're going to inhale as we drop the belly to the ground, take our gaze up to the sky. Exhale as we round the spine up towards the sky while walking the hands in towards the knees. So the hands are right in front of the knees. You've got a nice rounded upper back, chin is tucked into the chest. And then we're going to slowly tiptoe our fingers, or I guess our fingers, over to the outside of the right leg. And the key here is to keep the chin tucked into the chest, the upper back rounded, and the hips both squared to the front of the mat. So avoid rotating the hips. That's going to give you a nice stretch in your lower left back. Exhale to walk the fingers back to the front and over to the left side. Again, keeping your chin nice and tucked, upper back round, and those hips squared to the front of the mat. Exhale, walking the hands back to the front of the mat, finding that neutral tabletop position again. And this time tucking onto the balls of the toes and sending the hips up and back for down dog. Imagine that there's like a dollar bill on your upper thigh, and you want to pinch it with your lower rib cage so that you can keep that dollar bill there. So think about bringing the lower rib cage towards the upper thigh. That's going to really help you lengthen and extend your spine here. Pushing the ground away from you with your hands. Maybe even think about rotating those armpits into one another. And let's pedal out the feet here. And then on an inhale, lifting that right leg up towards the sky, bending the knee, and let's make some hip circles. So imagine that you're drawing on the back wall with this knee. And rotate if you haven't already, going the opposite direction. Re-extending that right leg up towards the sky and shifting forward as you exhale, bringing the knee to the chest, really pushing the ground away here so that you have some room to step that right foot in between both hands. And then from here, staying on the balls of the back foot, lifting our arms up towards the sky, coming into high lunge or Anjayanasana. Both hips and shoulders are facing forward. And on an exhale, pivoting onto the back heel, finding warrior two. Both your hips and shoulders are facing the long left edge of your mat, and your shoulders are directly over your hips. So you're not shifted forward. Right here, arms in a T, gazing towards the front hand. Exhale, dropping the back hand towards the thigh, reaching the front hand up overhead for reverse warrior. Option to wrap that back hand around your back. Remembering to keep your gaze up towards the sky. Inhale, coming back up to connect the front elbow to the front thigh. Taking that back hand up overhead for extended side angle or Parsvakonasana. Option to drop the bottom hand towards the mat. Another option would be to find your bind here. Either of these variations is awesome. So if you want to stay right here, stay right here. Then inhale, come back up to warrior two, only to windmill the arms back down towards the mat here. And we're gonna keep both of our hands on the inside of the front leg, and we're gonna drop onto the back knee, coming into a lizard pose here. Work into these hips however you need for just a few breaths. So maybe you want to come into the elbows, maybe you want to stay right here, or if you want a little bit more movement, you can alternate between half split and lizard. So whatever you've decided, let's just hang out there for a couple of breaths. Two more breaths here. Coming back into lizard, straightening those arms, and we're gonna take the left hand, place it directly on the inside of that front foot, release the right hand off the mat, rotating the chest in towards the front thigh, finding a little bit of a twist here, reaching that arm up towards the sky. If you'd like, you can bend the back leg, find the ankle or foot for more of a quad stretch. Exhale, releasing the foot and both hands back to the mat. Coming up onto the balls of the back foot, finding plank, stepping that foot back into a plank, and option to flow through a vinyasa or just find child's pose, whichever you'd like. I'm gonna flow through a vinyasa. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, up dog or cobra. Exhale, coming up onto the balls, the feet again, finding down dog. If you decided to take child's pose, tuck onto the balls of the toes and come and meet us up in down dog for the other side. Extending that left leg up towards the sky this time, bending the knee, drawing some circles on the back wall, really opening up those hips, going the other direction as well. Re-extending the leg. On an exhale, taking the knee towards the chest, pushing the ground away from you, gently stepping your foot in between the hands, and rising up into that high lunge. So we're on the balls of the back foot, hips, shoulders facing forward, arms up to the sky, ribs knitted in. And on an exhale, dropping down onto the heel of that back foot, opening up your hips and shoulders to the long edge of your mat, arms finding a T, and dropping into warrior two. I like to think I'm trying to tear my mat from the center, so all my energy is really going down and out. Exhale, drop the back hand to the back thigh, reaching up overhead for reverse warrior, option to wrap that bottom hand around your back. Inhale, rising up, finding extended side angle by placing the front elbow on the thigh, reaching the back hand up overhead, really keeping the chest open. Again, option to drop the hand to the mat or find that bind, whatever your body needs right now. Inhale, release back up to warrior two, to windmill the hands both to the inside of the front foot, dropping onto the knee of the back foot or the back leg, and working into your lizard posture. So again, elbows, hands, or alternating between half split and lizard. For balance sake, I would just do what you did on the other side. Two more breaths here. When you're ready, meeting us back in lizard pose and taking that right hand, placing it directly on the inside of the front foot, releasing the left hand up towards the sky, rotating that chest open to the front thigh, staying here or bending that leg, the back leg, and finding the foot or ankle, finding a nice quad stretch. Exhale, releasing the foot if you need. Both hands coming to the inside of that front foot, coming up onto the balls of the back foot, stepping back into plank, flowing through one more vinyasa if you'd like, or dropping into child's pose. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, send your hips back and up into a down dog. If you took a child's pose instead of a vinyasa, stay right there. And if you're in down dog, let's drop into child's pose or balasana. So taking your knees as wide as your mat if you'd like to really open up the sacrum. You also have the option of taking the knees in together if you want more of a back stretch. So it's going to stretch more of your lower back, connecting that forehead to the mat. Two more deep breaths here before we sit up to end our practice. Inhale, use your hands to walk yourself upright. I'm going to face you for this, but you can stay right where you are. So if you were in a wide-legged child's position, great, or if your knees were together, doesn't matter. Either way, take the arms up overhead. Exhale them back behind your back and interlace the fingers. Take both of your hands out to your left hip and then drop your left ear to your right shoulder. So your hands and your head are all the way over to the left, really stretching out the neck on the right side. You can play around with taking your gaze down to the floor or up to the sky. And then inhale, back up to center and switching sides. So now taking your interlaced hands to the right hip and then dropping that right ear to the right shoulder. Again, playing with where your gaze might be. Taking note of the different neck muscles that get stretched when you're looking up or down. And inhale, rise back up to center. If you have a couple more minutes, I would suggest laying back down on your back, taking a few minutes of a Shavasana, trying to find some stillness with your mind and body. If you don't have time, that's great. I'm so glad that you practiced with me today, and I can't wait to share more videos.